Hello guys. So in this session we are going to learn instrumenting Java application with Gradle using OpenTelemetry Java agent. Okay. So let's start. So for that, first of all here, prerequisite before we begin, ensure you have the following installed on your Ubuntu system. So first of all, we need Ubuntu instance and we need to install OpenJDK 17, the Java development kit, that JDK for running the Java applications, and a Gradle, a build automation tool that manages dependencies and build tasks. Okay. If you don't have these two prerequisites, so then don't worry, we are going to install. Okay. So, but before, first of all, you need to launch the Ubuntu instance. So as you can see here, I have successfully connected to my terminal. Now I'm going to clear the screen. Okay. Now, let's start to instrumenting Java application with Gradle using OpenTelemetry Java agent. So the first step is let's set up Ubuntu EC2 instance. If you don't have JDK or Gradle installed on your system, then you can install them using this following command. So let's start. So first of all, let's update the system package. As you know how to update, so the command is sudo apt update. As you can see, it's done almost. Yeah, so it's done. Now the next step is let's install OpenJDK 17, which is required to run your Spring Boot applications. So let's install OpenJDK 17. The following command. So the command is sudo apt install OpenJDK 17 JDK-y. Now it's going to install OpenJDK 17. So as you can see, 30% done. Yep, it's done almost. Right. Yeah, it's done. So it's done. We have successfully installed OpenJDK 17 also. Okay, now let's verify the version and see the details about this. You can see the version 17.0.15, right? Okay. So it's done. Now it's time to install Gradle. So now let's install Gradle. So Gradle can be installed using the following command. So the command is sudo apt install gradle-y. As you can see, it's done almost. Yeah, okay. So now we have successfully installed the prerequisites. That means we have a Ubuntu instance, we have successfully installed OpenJDK 17. Now we have successfully installed Gradle also. Okay, now it's done. Okay. Now let's move to the next step. Now the next step is let's initialize a new Java application with Gradle. So to create a new Spring Boot project, you can use the command line. So run the following command to generate a new project. So first of all, we need to create a directory for project and navigate into that. So my directory name will be Java hyphen simple. So if you want to give another name, then you can give another name. And as you know how to create directory or folder, the command is mkdir make directory and your directory name. Now if I run the ls command, as you can see, directory successfully created. Let's inside the directory. And if I run the ls command, as you can see in this directory as of now, There is no any file, no any folders as of now. As you can see, it's empty. Okay. Now, the next is initialize the project using Gradle. So we have successfully installed Gradle. So how to initialize? So let's run the command Gradle init hyphen hyphen type Java application. So let's initialize. As you can see, it's initializing. Build successful in 3 seconds, 2 actionable task and 2 executed. As you can see, if I run the ls command, now there is a folders and files, build.gradle, Gradle, Gradle view, gradleview.bat, settings.gradle and src folder. Okay, it's done. Okay. Now the next is let's open build.gradle file. So let's open this build.gradle file using nano editor. And in this Gradle file, we are going to replace this with my file. From here to here, I'm going to replace this. First of all, let's replace this. Then we are going to understand this file line by line. Okay, let's replace this with my code. Okay, now let's understand. Okay, so this is a Gradle build script for the simple Java Spring Boot project and using the Spring Boot plugins and dependencies management for the easier setup and version control. Okay, first of all here as you can see plugins. Okay, so this plugins block, first of all id java, so this adds supports for java complications and packaging. Okay, then id organization spring framework boot. Okay, version, so that's add spring boot gradle plugins version like 3.3.5 for spring boot application supports and which includes task for running and packaging in these applications. Okay, the next is apply plugins block. Okay, so this block applies the Spring Dependencies Management plugins, which manages transitive dependencies for Spring projects, making it easier to handle compatible version of libraries. The next one is here. You can see the next one is repositories. Okay, so the repositories block defines Maven Central as the source of downloading dependencies, the main repository for Java libraries. And then last is that dependencies block. So dependencies block here, the implementation, organization, Spring Framework, .boot, Spring Boot, Starter, Web, and so on, right? So this adds Spring Boot Web Starter dependencies, which includes everything necessary to create a web applications like Tomcat server and essential Spring components. So that's the meaning of this file. Okay, so let's save this and exit. Okay, so we have successfully replaced with this. Okay, now the next step is let's create a Java application and controller. So first of all, let's navigate to the main Java source directory. So let's go to this src folder, then main folder, and then Java folder. If I run the ls command, so there is a one file with the name app.java. So we need to remove the default app.java file that was generated. So let's remove this. Yes. If I run the ls command, there is no file now. Okay. Okay. Now let's create the package structure and navigate into it. So let's create a mkdir-p com example. In this com folder, there is example. If I run the ls command, there is a com. So let's inside. the common example. As you can see, there is no any folder now. Okay. Now in this location, let's create a main application file. The name is diceapplication.java. So let's create using nano editor, nano diceapplication.java. And in this file, let's add the following code. Okay. Now let's understand this code first. So this is the main application code for simple Java Spring Boot project, which is launches web applications without displaying the Spring Boot banner. Okay. So the first of all, there is a package declaration here, right? Okay. So package com.example defines the packages for the DICE application class, right? In Java, package helps organize classes logically and avoid naming conflict, right? Okay. Then import statement. That's the three import statement here. Okay, so import Spring Boot classes for app startup, right? Like Spring applications and configuration, like Spring Boot application that along with the banner for optional customization, right? Okay, then next is here you can see classes and so on. Okay, so in this class as Spring Boot applications, this annotation marks the main class of the Spring Boot application, enabling the features like configuration, enable auto configuration, then component scan, and so on, right? Then next is class and main method here. Okay, so what is the class and main method here? So it's declared dice application as the main class and spring application app is equals to new spring application, that dice application, that class that initialize the applications. Okay, and it's disable the banner and cleaner that console output. Okay, and that app run, right? That app run arguments that start application launching the embedded web server. Okay, so that's the meaning of this. So let's save the exit. Okay, then after that, let's create one more file here with the name nano role controller dot java, and let's add this following code. Okay, as you can see the code of this. Okay, first of all, here as you can see the package declaration that organize the classes under these com.example packages, right? And then next is import that java.util optional, java.util that concurrent, right? And so on the details here. Okay, that's the import statements here. Okay, then next is REST controller block. So this REST controller annotation indicates that the class is Spring REST controller capable of handling HTTP request and returning HTTP response. Okay. The next is logger. Okay. Then the logger is, you can see, the logger is private static final logger. Okay. That initialize a logger for the class to log dice role information. Okay, then it's index method here. Okay, so that's this method allowing HTTP get request to trigger the dice rule logic and request or response, right? Okay, that's the index method. And then in last here, you can see get random number method. So it generates a random method between the specialized minimum and maximum values using this thread location random dot current dot next init. Okay, that's the random methods. Okay, so let's save this file. Okay, then now the next step is build and run the application back to root directory of the project. Okay, so we have successfully created this file and now we are in in this location. Okay, now we need to exit from the whole directory. Let's go to this root directory. So that's why now we are in java simple folder. Okay, now the note that here system install older version of Gradle which is not compatible with our project setup. If you want to check, then you can check Gradle version. Now our Gradle version is here, 4.4.1. Now it is not compatible with our project, you can see. So we need to change this. So first of all, you need to open a Gradle wrapper.properties file to configure the Gradle wrapper. So this file is located in this Gradle wrapper directory. So you can adjust the Gradle version here. So first of all, let's open this. And here you can see the version 4.4.1. We need to replace this with 8.1.1. And now let's save this and exit. Okay, it's done. Now let's check using the command. Okay, now as you can see the Gradle wrapper version, you can see Gradle 8.1.1, and before that Gradle was 4.4.1, and now it is 8.1.1. Okay, it's done. Okay, okay. Now let's build the application. So run the command Gradle you assemble. Okay. So as you can see, it's build succeed in 26 seconds, 4 actionable tasks and 4 executed. Okay, it's done. Okay. Now let's run the application. So the command is java-jar.build libs java simple 001 snapshot.jar. So let's check. As you can see, now it's running the application. Okay, now it's running the application. Now let's copy your instance IP, hit on browser, and the port number is 8080. And after that, you need to enter roll dice. Okay. So as you can see here, if you refresh, then as you can see the number. Right, as you can see, right? Okay. So now, if you want to stop this, then you can simply press Control C. Okay. Now let me clear screen. You can see that enter the numbers here 622. That when we refresh the browser, right? Okay. Okay. Then next is let's download and configure OpenTelemetry Java agent. So let's download the OpenTelemetry Java agent using this call command. Okay, it's done. Then next is the Java agent automatically instruct your Java applications and send telemetry data to the configure backend. So let's set up the environment variables to verify the logging exporters and intervals. So let's run this. Okay. Now It's done. Now the next step is let's run and verify OpenTelemetry instrumentation. Okay. So finally run the application to start capturing OpenTelemetry data. Now as you can see, its application is running. So let's access it again here. Let's refresh. As you can see, that's the OpenTelemetry data. Let's refresh again. You can see. Right. So the OpenTelemetry Java agent should be generating logs for traces, metrics, and other telemetry data in the console. So verify this output to confirm the application is instrumented or not. You can see here. Right. You can see the output. Okay. So it's done. So in this session, we have learned instrumenting Java application with Gradle using OpenTelemetry Java agent. So thank you for watching and I hope you understand.